Okay, so I've been playing this world for about like 1 week now, and I gotta stock up on iron and coal. I'm kind of running low. And while I do so, I'm gonna read you guys some Reddit stories. Okay, here's the first one. Am I the asshole for telling my husband's childhood best friend she's too involved with my kid? So, a bit over a year and a half ago, me and my husband gave birth to our first son. Having the first kid, we were both incredibly nervous and scared that we were gonna screw things up. The first week with him back was awful. He cried all the time and it was ridiculously exhausting, but I'd be lying if I said we didn't know what we were getting into. At the start, my husband's best friend was amazing. She would come around all the time and bring us food or spend time with our baby, and she gave us time away, and we really appreciated the help. And she seemed to genuinely love my son. When my maternity leave was finished and I went back to work, she offered even more of her time to help with babysitting instead of me hiring someone. I said that I couldn't make her do that, and she surely had other things to do. And she said it was fine. She works from home on her online businesses anyway, and she even refused to pay. And honestly, I didn't mind any of the help until now. I recently noticed on our doorbell that she had been coming in at night, while I was doing occasional night shifts. I thought it was strange, but free help, so I never confronted it, even though I felt it was weird. But yesterday, when I came home from a shift and found my son playing with her, and found that he kept referring to her as mama, I think something kind of broke inside of me, and I just told her to get out. She protested and asked what was wrong, but I just asked her to leave and to not come here again. She accused me of being jealous and that I was scared that I was being replaced. She pointed out that if I was a more involved parent, my husband and son wouldn't need a second wife, quote unquote. And I screamed at her. I told her that if she knows what's good for her, she should get out. So she finally did. Later, my husband came home, and I told him about what happened, and he just shrugged and didn't say anything. However, my mother-in-law called, and she had a full go at me, and saying that I needed to apologize. And honestly, I'm at a loss, because at this point, I feel really bad, and I feel like I went a bit too far. Am I the asshole? Okay, from the get-go, my first gut feeling is that you're not the asshole. It's understandable to be upset if you see your role as a parent being threatened by someone else. Especially when you see your son calling someone else mother. That's gotta hurt. I can't say for certain if the woman was doing it intentionally, but she did go too far. She was throwing you down in your parenting style, and that's not okay. I don't think that the best friend is in the right. She's clearly very involved in your family and she knows how you guys operate, but she has no right to insinuate that she's replacing you as a parent. And ultimately, she's volunteering her services and she's choosing to help you. You are under no obligation to leave your child with anyone. And if you're not comfortable with her being there, kick her out. You have that right, it's your child. You get to decide how it's raised. So in the end, I don't think you're the asshole. Okay, on to the next one. Am I the asshole for not waking up a tourist who overslept and missed the day trip that she paid for? Hi guys, I'm a 21 female Bulgarian tour guide who accompanies groups to Sicily. On one recent trip, a single woman who was traveling alone in her mid-30s was consistently oversleeping. The first day after we arrived, we had a trip to Etna, and I think it's pronounced Taormina, for which we departed at 8 a.m. As we do all other day tours, I make sure that all tourists are informed of the departure times on the bus the day before. They also have my number to call in case they forget, just so I can remind them. Additionally, they all have printed out pamphlets with the schedule made by the travel agency that I hand out that has the time for departure on it. All of the group was on time, except one woman. She was late by 10 minutes, which, okay, maybe she got caught up in something and was late. I excused it, and then I mentioned to the whole bus in the mic that I do not tolerate lateness beyond 15 minutes, at most in case of an emergency like a forgotten possession, and that I must always be called and informed in case someone is running late. Otherwise, the trip was fine. The next day, the same tourist was late again, by 25 minutes, almost an entire half hour. I called her twice to no answer, and we were just about to leave without her when she came out running and got on the bus. She got lucky, as the receptionist of the hotel asked me about a missing piece of info on the rooming list and earned her some extra time. Afterwards, I reminded everyone again that I will not be waiting anymore for late tourists in the morning, and waking up on time is their responsibility. When we came back that evening, she asked me if I could make sure to wake her up on time. I reminded her a third time that I am not responsible for waking people up. Everyone gets a printed itinerary with departure times, and I announce everything the day before. She kept saying, no, just knock on my door if I'm not out by 8:15. And I kept repeating, I really can't do that for everyone. Please set an alarm. Well, on the day after, we were visiting Syracuse, and she didn't show up. I waited 15 minutes after the supposed departure time, called her twice to no response, and then I left with the bus and the rest of the group. She called me in a panic about an hour later, asking where we were. I explained the situation calmly. She got angry and said that I had one job and that I cheated her out of the money she paid to go on that day trip. She missed the whole day trip and was furious the next day. Later, she told the rest of the group that I abandoned her and also called my own agency, leaving a bad review about me. Am I the asshole for not personally waking up a grown woman despite warning her multiple times that I wouldn't? Okay, this one's pretty obvious that the driver is obviously not the asshole. You told her several times what the expectations were, and somehow, by some miracle, she managed to not wake up 3 times in a row. That's on her. You tried your best, you did wait for her, all 3 times at a reasonable amount, but you can't pull the plug on the entire show for one person. So this is definitely pretty black and white. It's not your fault. This is on her. I don't know what her problem was. I don't know what she's doing in the morning to be that late. I think it was an hour the first time. But definitely not your problem. I think I can get this. Yep, okay. Okay, on to the next one. Am I the asshole for making my girlfriend cry after trying to teach her to set a boundary? My 20 male girlfriend, wait, what? Oh, my bad. I got them confused. Me, perspective, 20 male, my girlfriend, Lily, 18 female, and I have been together for about 2 years? I think 18, 16 is pretty, dicey, not gonna lie. But anyway, for context, I'm an MMA fighter, and she's a Muay Thai fighter. Oh my god. An absolute vicious wee thing. But she's the softest, most gentle person in the world, to the point that it's worrying. She doesn't apply her toughness in any other aspects of her life. Lily feels bad for the absolute scum of the earth. She's had a traumatic childhood, and so she's afraid of people's anger. If someone crosses her boundaries, she makes justifications for them. I'm so thankful that it's me who's with her and she's safe, because so many men would take advantage of her in my position. Last night, she told me about a guy from work who won't leave her alone. He crosses physical boundaries, and I'm only just hearing about it now. Lily told me, she says things like, "What are you doing?" and pulls herself away, because she's scared of how he's going to react, and he's a lot bigger than her. I got her to demonstrate, and had me pretend to be that guy. She said it in the softest voice you can imagine. I was getting her to practice on me by saying loudly and clearly, "Fuck off, leave me alone." A lot of guys like that are cowards, and something as simple as that gets them to fuck off. My sister has been in similar situations. Lily started crying, saying that she can't just bring her voice louder, and she doesn't like it that I'm forcing her to shout. I felt guilty, instantly, so we went to bed and I told her we can talk about it in the morning. So the author didn't leave the "am I the asshole" part, but he did include an edit saying, "Can't believe all the people saying and DMing me that I'm some future rapist, abuser, manipulator, predator, and that I infantilized my girlfriend because I said we thing. I'm Scottish, for fuck's sake. Knew I shouldn't have downloaded Reddit again." So now that I know he's Scottish retroactively, I apply the accent so the story makes more sense. But yeah, overall, he's yeah, this is a tough one. I understand that you want to be protective over your partner. However, you have to respect that she's a grown woman and she can choose what she does. If someone's making her uncomfortable, it's up to her how she wants to handle that. And if she explicitly states that she's not comfortable telling someone to fuck off, well, fuck off and leave me alone, as he suggests, then she shouldn't have to. I don't know. I just think she can take care of herself. She's a grown woman. She's capable. She knows Muay Thai. I don't think the worst is going to come to pass. But I don't think you're a bad person for meaning well for her. You want the best for her. Okay, I got more from a post-game interview. After rewatching that, the part where you reenact the part that made her uncomfortable and kind of drilled it into her that she has to stand up for herself to the point where she was crying. That part might have gone too far. That part, not the biggest fan of. Okay, on to the next one. Am I the asshole for telling my mother that I won't see them if they come to visit us on holiday? Myself, 30 female, and my partner, 27 non-binary, are professional musicians. That's pretty cool. On 25/10/25, 25. Oh, the 10 is like December. I don't know my months. Okay. On 25/10/25, we have a gig. That's an all-day type of festival thing. Since this is the first gig that my parents had a chance of actually attending, and with my sister having recently finished high school, we queried if they wanted to come and see it. This was posed back in May when our gig was confirmed. Back then, we stressed to them that the week leading up to the event would be stressful for us, and that those dates aren't dates that we are available. Important to know is that my partner has chronic fatigue, and that we plan meticulously around that to ensure that they can keep their professional commitments and promises. My mother and I spoke yesterday, 29/7/25, I'm not going to bother with those dates, and she said they were interested in booking, and we're currently looking at plane tickets to do so. My heart immediately sank, because my mother is very intense on the let's do things together when she's visiting. I reminded her of the previous conversation, the chronic fatigue, and that we would be busy with rehearsals and the final preparations and checks on those days, such as packing vans, ensuring all the instruments and tech are perfectly set up, and organizing our merch for the gig. She reacted negatively, exactly how I knew she would. Couldn't we just hang out during the evening? We could go out to the museums before rehearsals, sightseeing, going to the beach would be relaxing, etc. I gently but firmly reiterated that we are not available at those dates and suggested that they look at the dates I had discussed with my dad, 23 through 29-10. Instead, that would give them time to land and decompress from flying, and would give us a few days after the gig to do all the things that she wanted to do. She got upset, stating that she would have to use 2 days of holiday instead of 1, and started complaining about how my dad doesn't take his holiday in the summer. So he has a lot of holiday left, but she does not. I empathized with her situation, but also held firm on the boundary that 22 to 26 are the days where we are not available. I explained that if those are the days they are coming, it would potentially be hello and goodbye. At most, it would be a brunch in the mornings, but that we would be unable to join her for any of her usual sightseeing. She ended the call with a parting statement of, well, maybe we won't just come at all then, which broke my heart because I really did want them to come and see our gig, and I was really looking forward to seeing my dad. Am I the asshole here for setting and maintaining this boundary? Okay, obviously, this one's also pretty cut and dry. You're not the asshole. Your mother should respect your boundaries, especially if you're a grown-ass man with a grown-ass partner. But it's unfortunate that it came to this, because there was really no fast solution, because she didn't want to compromise and you couldn't. You're focusing on taking care of your partner's health. In an ideal world, she would understand, she would get it, she'd come out and support you guys, you'd see your dad, and it'd be okay. But you guys have to make it up another day. Definitely don't hold it against her. This is your family. Just give it a little bit of time and then talk about it later and patch things up. I'm sorry it turned out this way, but you're definitely not in the wrong for this, and I'm sorry that happened to you. Okay, so for this last one, I have twins in my own family, so I thought this one was interesting. Am I the asshole for not going to my own twin's wedding? I, 24M, have an identical twin. We're not close, but I thought we had basic mutual respect. This belief was tested. I grew up in a traditional southern town, and I only began coming out in college about 5 years ago. It's been slow, especially with my family, but since moving to DC in 23 for school and work, I've felt more comfortable living authentically. After moving, I met my boyfriend, 26M, and we've been together for 2 years. Over time, I've introduced him to friends and family when I felt safe. Cut to November 24th. I was home for the holidays and told my twin and his fiancé about my boyfriend. They seemed happy for me, and while staying with them, wedding details arose and they asked if I was bringing a date. I said yes, my boyfriend. My twin had gone to bed, but his fiancé said, while there are pros and cons, it's up to you if you want to bring him. That felt like a green light. My twin constantly deferred to her on decisions, so I didn't think I needed to double check. 5 months passed, and my boyfriend and I had spent $1,000 and $300 on travel, flights, hotel, etc. 3 weeks before the wedding, I mentioned on a call with my brother that we were all set. His tone shifted. Oh, is boyfriend actually coming? I reminded him of the conversation with his fiancée. He said she never gave me permission and accused me of making it up. Then said, "We can't allow your boyfriend to come. We worry about how Dad's side will react." I offered to call Dad on the spot. He dodged, saying he'd check with his fiancée, despite just saying it was his decision, and an hour later, no change. I was still invited alone, still expected to buy a groomsman matching suit, even though I wasn't in the party, and show up smiling. That's when I snapped. I asked, "If I didn't invite your fiancé to my wedding, would you still come?" He couldn't answer and ended the call after some harsh words. Trying to make things right, I came out to my dad, which I feared for years, to explain the situation. He was surprisingly indifferent, and even said uninviting my boyfriend was extreme. He offered to talk to extended family, and I thought I was removing the main obstacle. Weeks later, my twin called again. He now claimed our friends would be weirded out, quote unquote, so the excuse shifted again, and I said, "If my boyfriend's not invited, I'm not coming," and he didn't budge. Here's the kicker. Days later, my dad told me that the fiancé admitted she did give me permission, but changed her mind when she remembered who would be there. She denied this to my twin. Also, one of her bridesmaids is openly gay and brought her gay boyfriend, but according to the fiancé, she's not part of the family, so it's different. So, I didn't go. I'm still wondering if I made the wrong call. My absence was noted. I got texts asking where I was. My mom had to explain it repeatedly. So instead of avoiding attention, my absence became the story. My relationship with my twin is dead, and some family ties now feel fragile. Part of me wonders, should I have sucked it up and gone solo, just to preserve the bonds that shaped my early life? Oof, that's a rough one. First, family is important, but family also isn't everything. And from what it sounds like, not your entire family is as old-fashioned as your twin and his fiancé is. I would definitely say don't lash out and cuss them out and add fire to the fuel, or other way around. Don't let them walk all over you. You need to respect yourself and respect your partner. Ultimately, that's your life partner. Your family's there when you're young and your partner's there when you're old, and the future's still ahead of you, so you set your own priorities. This is another terrible situation that I'm sorry you had to deal with, and I wish you the best. I hope that you forgive them. I hope that this works out, and I hope you can eventually rebuild those connections. Okay, so that's all the stories I have for today, but I want to make more of these. These are actually surprisingly fun to make. So yeah, let me know. If you have any stories, any recommendations, any ideas, send them my way. And if you guys don't like this content, also tell me, so I can go back to making the long plays, which I also make. So keep in touch. Thank you.